Alright, welcome to another Brighter Shores video. Today we're going to be talking more about what skills you should be training and where you should be spending your knowledge. To that end, I've gathered a lot of data regarding action and knowledge rates that you get from doing different activities. And the first thing that's interesting to note, I guess, is every skill that I've seen seems to give you a very similar rate of knowledge gain, at the very least. It's about 3 to 4 knowledge points per hour. And that's the way I'm trying to keep track of these things so we can compare them against each other. But most skills let you train in a normal way and give you between 3 and 4 per hour. There's a lot of people I've seen talking about cooking stew and how that's a pretty great way to get knowledge. And it is interesting to note it's actually a little bit on the low end. It's like 3.2 knowledge per hour that you get. And I know a lot of people like it, which I like it too, because it's very AFK and it gets you a decent amount of money and XP. But if you're looking to try to maximize your knowledge rates, it's not ideal. It's not even the best for AFK gold making activities, because realistically, if you want something like this that's very low intensity, it's realistically better just to head out to do some leatherworking, especially if you're going to be doing the merchant skill beforehand. But even without the merchant skill giving you discounts on these materials, you still make more money than you make cooking, and it gives you almost exactly the same knowledge rate, and it's more AFK. So realistically, if you're looking for an AFK activity to do, leatherworking is pretty nice for that. But let's see. I'm going to move on to kind of cover different rates you get for different skills. I'm not going to cover a lot of the processing skills right now. I'm going to be covering these a little bit more in another video, namely the stonemason, blacksmith, and bonewright, because those are going to be more involved in like trying to figure out which of these weapons are more efficient use of your time to get you more XP and lose you less money, basically. But so right now we're going to be talking about a lot of the gathering skills and different rates you get as far as actions per hour and knowledge per hour. The actions per hour I note because, activities upgrade over time, so you can kind of just use these actions per hour combined with XP rates and gold rates to figure out what you're going to get. For instance, if you're going to fish eel, right, and you're only level 2, you're going to get the lesser eels here, which are going to give you less XP and sell for less, but then you can kind of just plug that into actions per hour. So we'll take a look at that. And again, like I mentioned, most things average out somewhere between 3 and 4. We're gonna look at woodcutting and mining really quick, and we'll keep these pretty brief just to give general points about this, and I'll show you a little bit of what I'm tracking over here in my notepad. And if you want a deeper look, you can just kind of pause the video on it when I do this. But so for different materials, they all tend to give the same knowledge, and you'll also notice there's 4 of these that go towards stonemason, and 4 materials that go towards blacksmithing. Besides the deathstone, but the deathstone's a unique case because it's very expensive and difficult to mine and everything. But you'll notice all the metal stuff gives you 0.67% knowledge per action. All of the stone stuff gives you 0.83% knowledge per action, because you do mine the metals a bit faster. You mine like 10 at a time, so you mine 20 bank, and that's how the loop works out. But you'll notice for your knowledge rates here, flint and iron work out the best, with iron being at 3.7 knowledge every hour, and that's because it's like right next to a oh my gosh, where am I going here? It's like right next to a deposit box, which I should make note of that too. Basically all of these methods require you to unlock the storage rift, so that's a big priority. Not all of them, but most of them do. So like flint is right next to here, so you can kind of do your loop of mining 6, mining 6, mining 6, mining 6, and when you fill up, just deposit it and not really lose any time in that. And same thing with iron here, except iron is a little bit faster because you mine 10, and bank, and you don't lose a whole lot of time while you're trying to do that. And obviously ones that are further from the bank, Flantium ore gets you only 3 knowledge an hour, Cavernese ore, and these routes are really weird. Like Cavernese ore is way over here, so the best route for that I think is teleporting and then running past the floor tentacles and running back all the way up there. It just makes the routes very slow and not ideal, but iron and flint are pretty good, and they get you pretty good knowledge rates too. So if you're at a good level for those, like I am, iron ore is really good for me right now, right? It gives me really good XP rates because it's pretty close to my level for mining right now, and it's also fast deposits. So stuff to look out for that. Let's see, woodcutting real quick. Woodcutting's in a very similar boat. It's a little bit interesting because there's a lot of spots where it's like there's 6 different areas that have pine logs, so you kind of just need to make sure you're finding a good route close to storage rifts. Oh, there's another one. There's a lot of places to mine a lot of these. 10. Oh, jeez. 10. Anyways, but so you just kind of have to find a good route for you. Go store everything. But a lot of these end up being similar. Where are the woodcutters? There we go. Where the good ones give you 3.6, 3.75 for pine and hickory. And the slower ones give you a bit less even. It's just Suave and Poplar don't have good places to mine. Juniper kind of too, but not it's not so bad. 3.2 knowledge an hour. But yeah, the ones that are the best are hickory and pine because they're fairly close to we got all this pine here, right? Especially if you're gonna use a fear potion so things don't attack you. That's not so bad getting over here to bank, but you can get a pretty good route going with that. Pretty good route going with hickory logs up in here, store them in the storage rift. Yeah, so those are going to be your best things there if you have again, if the level's close to your current level so that you're getting good XP rates, those are the best ones to do. And then also looking at gatherer skills, it's a very similar thing, gatherer and foraging. 3.6 knowledge an hour. The bone spikes up here have a pretty good loop to go on. Let me pop this out, my goodness, so we can see this easier. Bone spikes have a really nice loop here. They take 60 seconds to respawn, and so you can about complete the loop of 8 by the time the first one respawns, and collect 432 an hour, get 3.6 knowledge. So again, long story short, a lot of these activities get about the same. There are some things you can do that can get you even more knowledge, and that generally involves multitasking. So one of the first examples is actually while you're running and collecting these bone spikes, you can also cut down the suave logs, if that's how you pronounce that, and do a nice loop where you collect 8 logs and 16 bones per inventory, and then you bank it. And right, so you're gonna get less bones per hour than if you're just collecting bones, but ultimately you're doing more actions and you're gonna get more knowledge. And this is probably generally more efficient long term. Again, especially if your woodcutting and gathering skills are close to the levels that you need here for them. This one I was testing at 4.2 knowledge an hour. So that's something that's really interesting. So there's several other things like that, and it's mostly, surprise, surprise, maybe not, forager skills that are the best at this. So, you have your generic training with forager where if you're collecting wall plants or periwinkles, right? These will get you like 3.6 knowledge per hour as well. Just running along here, collecting wall plants, and going and banking them. Or the periwinkles right over here. But the interesting thing to note, and this is going to be the big part of this, how you're getting the most knowledge per hour, is doing a lot of foraging. Let me point this out really quick too, because you can do it a little bit faster too with fishing. Again, a lot of times it's better for combining multiple things, but if you go and you fish all 6 of these eel and then run over to the pufferfish and then get all 6 of the pufferfish and then run back and get all 6 of the eel and run back and get all 6 pufferfish and then go and sell it, you do get faster XP rates than just collecting eel or pufferfish. Right, so either one of these, it takes about 200 seconds to collect 24. You get about 3.6 knowledge an hour, and you get slightly faster rates with 175 seconds to fill up your inventory and sell it. Alright, so you're going to get slightly better knowledge. And especially with these, you're just selling them. It's kind of pointless not to do that if you're training. Anyways, the rest of this is going to be talking about foraging. So the foraging rates on specifically wall plants and periwinkles is not the best. And I don't know why this is like this, but wall plants and periwinkles give you 0.83% knowledge, which basically comes out to every 6 you collect. As you're going in a loop, you collect 6, you get 5% knowledge. And so full inventory gives you about 20% knowledge, just like doing stew. And so you do 5 loops of that, and that gives you an entire knowledge point. And that's very average across all skills. But for foraging, this really jumps up a lot if you do some multitasking and foraging. So I'm going to show you some of the forage on the beach here. Basically anything way over here that's not in the main part of town, anything on the beach, anything in here that I found, besides the pondweed. I don't know why the pondweed is different, but the pondweed gives you the 0.83% knowledge, but everything over here gives you over 1% of knowledge, like 1.1% for every one. So you can do some routes here where you pick up shell, kelp, 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 shell, shell, come over here, pick up a few shells over here, right? And then so your route's picking up about 9 things, and then you can get back to the first shell respawning in about the time it respawns, about 60 seconds. So you're adding in, you know, basically another 50% from what you're getting for that. So that gets you 4.9 knowledge an hour, which is pretty incredible. This is probably not the best to do once you start getting forage up a little bit. I assume at some point you get kelp and shells leveled up, and this will be a better route to do. Kelp at 47, shells, yeah, 77. I don't know. So if you're also looking to get the best XP rates, foraging has a lot of options for where you can do that. So you can go along here, like I just mentioned, do shell, kelp, and shell. You can do shell, kelp, and starfish. One I was doing was doing the double starfish and kelp, and that's a little bit further from the bank, but it doesn't add too much time. You can also do water lily and bell plant, and then down here bell plant and potato. Once you start getting a little bit higher level than I am, you can start doing hogberries and potatoes, right, and run back over and deposit everything. Again, everything over here besides these water lilies, or what are pondweeds, sorry, give you a decent amount of knowledge. So I'm gonna run one example inventory here just to show you how quick it is and how much knowledge it gets you. So I'm starting off here, we're at 0 knowledge. Some gold under 16. So I'm gonna show you an entire loop, banking it and coming back right to this spot and see how long that takes. Because I was just kind of want to show you the loops you can do with this. So I have a timer over here. Boop. I'm gonna start that. and show you where we're at when we're done. So I'm not sure that the pathing on this is the best, but that's part of this, is that you can kind of just play around with it. The thing I always try to do is make sure you're pathing and then clicking on the resource at the last second if you're trying to run alongside it. I'll show you what I mean. So as opposed to just clicking on the plant and then my guy's gonna ride it right here, it's faster if you click off to the side and then gather it, so you're closer towards the exit. Generally that's faster. But so we're gonna go collect those 6, and then we got 3 potatoes and 3 bell plants over here. And obviously something to think about too is whether or not you want the resources, because there could be, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to use these potatoes. I might specifically go buy like the sausages so I can make sausage and mash or whatever the heck it is. So as long as you're okay with getting like a slightly weird grouping of materials, it does end up being a lot faster XP, a lot faster knowledge. And it's also nice for the fact that you don't have to wait for stuff to respawn, because a lot of times if you're trying to do a loop to be, I'm just going to collect bell plants and there's 6 of them near here, you're going to pick up those 3, go to the other spot, pick up those 3 and come back, and then you're having to wait for them to respawn, and you have downtime. It feels awkward. Like this might feel bad in a different way, I guess, because it's like, it's already respawned and I'm not there yet, but you can basically go as fast as you want. If you're going to be really quick about it, they're always going to be respawned by the time you get there, so that is nice. Alright, and I want you to notice too how quick my knowledge is going up here. So this is going to be basically 4 inventories to a full knowledge point. Well, slightly less than that even. But 27% knowledge, there we go. So again, that's around 1.1, maybe slightly less, 1.1 knowledge per thing you're picking up. And then there's a little storage rift right over here. We're gonna head back, and then I'll pause the timer, and we can do some quick maths. All right, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Comes out to about 200 seconds. So let me pull out the calculator real quick. Get away from these loud things. So we have 3,600 seconds in an hour, divided by 200, so you can do this route 18 times in an hour, and each time you're getting 2.7% knowledge. So we're going to multiply that by 27%, so 0.27. 4.86 knowledge an hour are getting from that, which is very comparable with even the kelp and shells on the beach. So main point to come away with this: foraging is king. Given this, I would probably never put knowledge into foraging for sure. And if you're trying to be, trying to scale something up, you're trying to get levels up for everything, but you don't want to, for your processing skills over here, but you don't want to actually train those. Foraging is fantastic in that it's not going to lose you money, obviously, because you're just gathering. It's very fast XP and very fast knowledge. Yeah, and so that's pretty much all I have to share. I did not realize this gave so much knowledge, and it's pretty crazy. Obviously, it's not AFK. If you're going to do a low intensity skill, Again, I would default to the leatherworker skill. But the only other thing I have to mention, I did not cover detective and merchant because they seem very variable. Like they change a lot over time. I would recommend there's a merchant like web page that you can use to say, hey, I have these tasks, and then I also have these options, and it'll tell you the best pathing to go buy these and sell these and everything. And from my limited testing, that did seem like you can get over 4 knowledge an hour. So this might be a good option too, especially if you're wanting to train that to get a lot better GP rates for leatherworking, right? This gets you pretty good knowledge, pretty fast XP if you're doing it really efficiently. Detective, I'm not sure of because this seems like this changes a lot, and I'm not confident that I can estimate this well. But anyways, thanks for watching. Next video I'm going to make is going to be covering XP rates for these processing skills, Bonewright, Blacksmith, Stonemason, and how to decide like which things to make, because for instance, somebody was mentioning you can make bolas and it costs 3 andesite, and then versus if you're going to move up to granite, you got to make these stone shields which take 5, and it seems like it's a lot better deal to make the bolas, but it's actually works out better given how much time it takes you and how much everything sells for to make the polished stone shields. So there's going to be stuff like that we can figure out how to do the math to optimize that. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.